Now, let's just compare the West and the East. UK, there is a resurgence. They are going for a lockdown. Europe, there is actually a resurgence, but that is not happening in the East. So what did they do? The West, they tested all fever and ILA aggressively, but they could not isolate those people who were negative. That is predominantly because people were not disciplined. Once they knew that the test was negative, they just kept going out. And they failed to control the pandemic. The testing what they did in US is the maximum in the world, but still they failed. Still they failed in controlling the COVID. Look at what the East did. They isolated all fever and ILI aggressively. They were after the symptomatic case. They tested aggressively. But most importantly, they did contact tracing of suspected cases, which no other countries did in the West or in South Asia. So this resulted in them succeeding in controlling COVID. So where are we? So isolation of all fever and ILI, we could not make it because it needs a self-driven effort. It needs a self-driven effort. So you need a disciplined society. In the absence of a disciplined society, it is very difficult to really isolate these people. And I would also tell that aggressive education on this was not done. They kept telling that you need to wear, you need to isolate, but they didn't tell that what will happen when you don't isolate yourself. You will infect your family, you will infect your loved ones, and you will infect your colleagues. That aggressive education was not done, which was extensively done, and people in the East already knew because they had MERS, they had SARS already. They did, and we did very good, reasonably good, as far as testing is concerned. But I would say we did not achieve, or maybe modestly achieve, success because testing alone will not be able to cut. Testing alone will not help. You need to look at. We cannot have one kind of a rule for all people. We need to customize what is required for a developing country, use the behavior of the individual and do it accordingly. I'm just suggesting a cost-effective approach. Now, if an individual has fever or influenza-like illness, start even masking at home. So people should know that when I am not doing well at home, I should not infect others. For example, if I have a severe muscle pain, let me just wear a mask and hand wash myself so that I don't infect my spouse, I do not infect my kids, I do not infect my elders at home. So this is something you need to educate on masking when you have any symptom which has a doubt of COVID. Test based on risk factors. Testing everybody is not going to really help, I would say. If everyone can isolate themselves for 7 days, if an individual with suspicion symptoms, if they can isolate irrespective of testing or result, you can actually control even with this amount of testing. Okay, I'm not against testing, but you need to look at more on isolation of people, and we need to have validate antigen testing. And we did it in dengue. NS1 antigen, which we validated, was as good as the ELISA-based detection, was as good as the PCR-based detection of dengue. So we need to test. In this regard, I'll just end the talk with this Feluda paper strip, which is basically a CRISPR. I'm not going into the technique. And there is a very good article in New England Journal of Medicine about this technique. This is a technique which US is going to implement in schools and colleges and at the end of streets where they are going to look at. This is better than antigen testing, but quicker. It gives the result in about 1 hour to 2 hours. And in India, it was developed by the Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology, a CSI. So they named it as Feluda because Feluda is actually a detective character in Satyajit Ray novel. So that's why they named it Feluda. Basically, it is FN case 9, editor limited uniform detection assay. Now, just 2 points about this. This has a more comparable rate, and possibly it may even override PCR because of the methods which has been adopted here. The complexity of extraction is relatively less, and the feasibility of running the test is also quicker. So that is one big advantage, and the contamination of the probes are relatively less because they are usually standardized in a better way. It's going to be rolled out, and we are going to be part of the study which is going to validate the Feluda paper strip. I think I do not know how this strip works on the field, but maybe I'll be able to tell you in 2 months' time on how this is going to really roll out. So we need to have a test which is quick, which is cheap, and this can be done at a cost of around 400 rupees. That's a big advantage, and it can be as good as PCR. So one big advantage is that India has a good biotechnology units. Every state has good biotechnology units. So we are doing very well in biotechnology, which means that we can easily replicate the technology which is available in the West and do things at a cheaper rate for our own purpose. Now, the take-home message will be a maximum infectivity of COVID is during pre-symptomatic and early symptomatic phase. Significant number of transmission occurs before the test result is known. Remember that always. Isolate all influenza-like illness from the symptom onset irrespective of test result. And self-driven effort is very, very critical. I think all I want you people to remember is that, we can infect others before we test positive. That is the main thing we need to remember in controlling, and test alone is not going to help in cutting down this transmission side. Just 2 slides before I cut off. Let's all teach our kids to wear masks. Once the school opens, kids are going to drive the pandemic in India. The reason is, you can look at a paper in Science which came from Andhra Pradesh. It was a Princeton University, John Hopkins driven study, which showed that children drive infection to their parents, to the elders at home. And just on a shorter note, a personal observation, kids show better complaints wearing masks than adults. In an LKG school interview, this is one of my students' concept, which I thought we'll go over, I'll share. We are doing data on this. We looked at CCTV in an LKG school interview. Some schools actually conducted LKG school interview. And it was found that at 12 after, and he had the patients to sit and watch through the CCTV, a 3-hour period where the parents and kids were sitting. 12 of the 20 teachers removed mask while talking, at least one. 58 of the 82 parents removed it. Only 2 out of 42 kids removed. Kids were probably wearing it thinking that it is a dress. They didn't remove it. So kids are more compliant than adults as far as mask is concerned. So with this, I think I come to the conclusion of the talk. I once again thank the organizers for giving an opportunity and a wonderful interaction with Dr. Rosie Madam and Dr. Sujata on this topic. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bhaskar, and congratulations. You've given such a vivid, accurate, informative talk on this subject, both for the present as well as the futuristic aspects. And you've also shown the significance and the limitations and shortfalls of relying solely on the results of the test alone for the preventive strategies, and hats off to you. I have a question to ask you. Now it is clear from your talk that even a meticulous banker who had all intentions of not spreading an infection spread the infection. Now, not to mention then in that case the infected careless for whichever reason, who would infect the populations, especially in our very highly and thickly populated country like ours. And the second wave is on in many countries, though you think that we may escape because the East was doing better, you thought. I think we need to keep our fingers crossed. And so while we are waiting for these miraculous preventive strategies and vaccines especially, could you just update on where we are globally and in our country, just taking a minute or two, so that these youngsters will have the right direction to follow it subsequently? Thank you.
You mean from the vaccines angle, madam?
Yeah, from the vaccine angle.
Okay.
Because the youngsters are looking forward to tracking on the vaccine. So your minute or two will help guide them to know where they need to really look at which vaccines and which are promising. So
I'll just give a brief few points about the vaccines. Basically, the vaccines which are going to be rolled out in Jan 2021 will be 2 messenger RNA vaccines. And I think you would have heard in the news. One is the called the Moderna, and the other is the Pfizer vaccine. Both are messenger RNA vaccines. Briefly telling, these messenger RNA vaccines are new technologies. We had these technologies in the end of 1995 to 2000, but they tried these technologies in MERS and SARS-CoV-2 but need was not there. Subsequently, they have used these technologies. What happens in messenger RNA is that it's just a genetic code which is injected into you. No virus vector is used. No part of the actual genome is used. It comes, it enters into your cell, and it uses your own ribosomes to produce a spike protein. So the load of antigen is very huge. For example, it comes into your cell, uses your ribosome, produces spike protein, and this spike protein goes to the cell surface and you develop antibody. So that is the mechanism by which the messenger RNA works. Now the two vaccines which is in India, you would have heard, one is called Covishield, in which what they have done is that they have used a modified chimpanzee adenovirus vector. The technology is from Oxford actually. They have given technology to Serum Institute. So in that they have added the spike protein genetic sequence into the adenovirus vector. So that is injected. So the adenovirus vector, which is relatively harmless, comes into your body, but with a different cover of spike protein, and the body identifies it as a COVID virus, and it produces antibody. Now the other one is the killed vaccine. Killed vaccine is convention. We all know the type of vaccines which you have used, the inactivated vaccine which are used for influenza. That is the traditional one. See, but the problem with the traditional vaccines is the protection is around 50%. If you look at influenza vaccine, it protects only 50 people. Whereas messenger RNA, because of the robust antibody response and sustaining for a long time, it may protect you for a longer period of time. But it doesn't come without problems. The first problem with messenger RNA is the storage. One of the vaccines which launched by the Pfizer, it requires a storage of -70 to -90. It's literally impossible in India. And not better with Moderna too. You need -20 for Moderna. Again, it's not going to be suitable. So from the storage part, it's a gross disadvantage, and it's very, very expensive. It will come to close to at least 2,000 rupees in Indian money to really market it at a really, really cheap rate. Now, it will be very difficult to bring it below that rate as of now. The drawback there is that it enters into your cells. I think you would have even seen some WhatsApp messages telling that don't get a vaccine. I also got it. Basically, I have a concern about messenger RNA vaccines. My personal opinion, it enters into your cells and it manipulates your ribosomes to produce spike protein. And we do not know how the cells will respond to these kind of stimulation. So there are concerns about cellular effects on a long run. It's true, but we have science data that it may not be that worrying as we actually think. So messenger RNA, personally, it has a long way to know about safety. But coming to the Indian vaccines, both Covishield and Covaxin, it's reasonably traditional. We know that it won't harm too much. It may cause some mild neurological dysfunction in a very small proportion. Protection will be less. But remember one thing, vaccine is not going to help you in 2021. Let me be very clear on that. It will help you beyond 2021. It will help you to prevent seasonal outbreaks. Remember, if you rely on vaccine to cut the pandemic, I think you are not going to get anywhere near it. That's what the world is looking at. Personally, I strongly feel that we should not look at vaccine as a tool to stop the pandemic. Stop the pandemic is what I told you. Isolate individuals at symptoms itself. Don't rely fully on tests. Ensure that you protect yourself and others and know the methods in which it transmitted. So that is going to be the lesson in 2021. The strategy is going to be the same. Mask yourself, social distancing, and maybe vaccines could help healthcare workers. It could help elders. But again, in elders, I don't think data is there. For 2021, I would be happy if healthcare workers get a safe vaccine, which is proven to be safe. Not to be in a hurry to look at the safety. Let's wait for 6 months. Phase 3, I don't think February is the correct time. We'll wait for up till May. We'll see the efficacy data in May. And from June, we'll roll out to people. We need safety data. So anything else I can add, madam? I just given whatever I feel I could do.
Dr. Bhaskar, that I think was wonderful for a starter for all of us and our youngsters. And thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. So can we just...
Thanks a lot, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much.